Well, I got a lot of stuff to go over today. So we got a special topic, die cut postcards, and what are they? And I got a lot of examples of these different postcards and some history about them and some highlights. Also, I sold 31 postcards overnight. I got 18 cards on eBay. I got one advertisement I'll show you. That's 19 cards on eBay to go through. And I sold 12 cards on Etsy and 0 cards on Hip. So I'll sprinkle those throughout the video as we get going here, so it's not all one just what's sold. And then I got one of those polls I put in the community tab. This one was requested by a viewer, and I put it out there, and it went out a couple Saturdays ago. As a postcard seller, did you start as a postcard collector? And I got a lot of people did respond to that, and I got a few comments, about 3 comments from people saying how they started with postcards. And then in the viewer comments section I usually do at the end of the video, I only got one viewer comment, but it's kind of a bigger subject. It's on feedback. I was asked, how do I deal with feedback? It can be disheartening or it can be good. It's a roller coaster with feedback. But I'll get into that at the end of the video. But let me go ahead and get started on what sold overnight. It was a pretty good night. Sales lately have been pretty steady. They haven't really dropped off. I've seen a lot of people saying sales have dropped, but I've been staying steady. Nothing, huge, but nice and steady throughout the month. So the first one that sold is these magazine ads. I actually cut these out of like Life magazines and different things like that, and I put them on a backer board with a sleeve. And if you notice, it has an inventory number on it. I think I got about 400 or 500 of these left in the postcard store, and they don't sell that often. They really low sell rate, but when they do, I hardly got anything. I got more money in the sleeve than I do anything else. But this sold for about $7 and plus shipping. So they pay for shipping, and I'll ship it in one of these bigger envelopes. It'll just slide right in there. I put a piece of cardboard right inside to make sure they don't bend it, because these are the types of things that they'll fold to try to get it into a mailbox. So if you put a nice heavy piece of cardboard in there, they can't really fold it and stuff like that. But that $7 plus shipping, I'll take it. I maybe, I don't know, they go in spurts when I sell those, depends what they are, but I played with pricing on those. I went up as high as $15 a piece, plus shipping, free shipping, and stuff. And I kind of decided on around $7 mark was a good thing with shipping. Keeps it around $10, $11. I've sold a lot of those overseas, but there's a finite number of them because there's only so many Life magazines out there, and they're the bigger ones. But now with the cards for eBay, a lot of cards sold on me. It had a lot of multiple orders. The first card that sold is the Lowell House Harvard University. There it is right there, a Chrome card. You can just tell right away. It's Harvard University. Did I price it up? No, $4.55 for that card. The next card is 3 of the naval ships. The first one was one of these prints. It's the USS Birmingham. It's on that light cardstock. So this will go into a continental sleeve and fit in that envelope. But that's just a picture that the club actually printed out themselves, and they sold these postcards for years. The next 2 that this person bought were the photos, the naval ship photos. This is the Columbia. It's a 3.5 by 5 photo. It does have a little curve, but that's what photos do. But that one sold for $8.55. And then he bought another of the photos. This is the Quincy, the naval ship Quincy, and these are actual photos, not postcards, and I got $8.55 for that. So those will be bundled up in one of those white envelopes that I use and shipped out with a stamp, because the photos can't go with that. The next one, I just posted this card yesterday, and this isn't far from me, Macomb, Illinois. I'm in just south of Chicago, but I didn't price it up. I thought it was a nice card, but it wasn't nothing gonna knock it out of the park, but it sold right away. Watson Seed Farms, Macomb, Illinois. Just a family type of card. Somebody probably had a saved search for these, and it came up, sold for $4.55. Glad it's going home over there. The next one is another ship photo. This is the Begley. Right there. These are actual, it says actual US Navy photo on the back on there. But that's sold for $8.55. Next one is a 2-card order. This person bought 2 postcards. The first one is Charo Days on the Rio Grande. You got some Spanish people there from Mexico with a little kid on a donkey. And this is a linen card, unposted, sold for $4.55. And they also bought, this one is an irrigation canal in Citrus Grove, Lower Rio Grande Valley of Texas. I sold a canal. But if you notice, it was both Rio Grande. So I had that in the title. And this one is posted 1940s. It's a linen card. So 2 cards going to that person, and that'll go eBay standard envelope. Next one is a bigger order on here, or one order, and this is another naval ship. This is the Yukon. Only the fit survive is the motto. And this is one of those chrome cards, and I actually checked. I have 103 of these left. So when this sells, I see the SKU number. I don't put these in the box with a sleeve. I didn't sleeve 100 cards. I have a little separator in the box, and I get the SKU number. I just go over and I grab one of the cards. eBay automatically takes the quantity down and sends it over to HIP, and it takes that down as well. This is another card I just posted yesterday. Roanoke Bridge. Some lady standing on a bridge, older truck. I was going to price it up a little bit, but I didn't see any comps that really said this is special. So it fell into the average pool, $5 to $8, $4.55. Just a chrome card. And then, let me go through a couple more here, so since I got so many. This is another one of the ship photos. I probably have a couple thousand of these, maybe 1,500 to 1,800 of these photos, and I got them all listed now. So whatever sells, I'll get out of these, hopefully. But the SIN card is right here. This is an older one, and this is from the 1930s, is where this photo's from. But that's sold for $8.55. Now, like I said, I had multiple orders, multiple quantity orders. This person bought 5 cards, so 5 times, $30 order, and he bought all the naval ship prints. This is the Denver. It's the size of a Continental. Black Hawk, Civil War flagship. So this is a Civil War flagship. It doesn't say when this was taken, but that's the flagship in the Civil War. And I actually have the negatives for all these here. I have the actual negatives of these photos. That came with the buy, is boxes and boxes of the drives that they had them all scanned on, and also the negatives. And this is the Brooklyn. And I'm not sure what year it is, but that's another print. And then I sold Helena. Looks like a destroyer or a battleship or something. But all these cards will fit into those envelopes. These will go eBay standard envelope, all in one thing, because there's not a lot of weight. And this is the Boston. So this gentleman bought 5 cards, and that was a 5-card order. But let me go ahead and knock out these last couple cards from eBay, and then I'll get into die-cut postcards. And don't forget, I got a nice little talk about feedback at the end of the video. But this is the Dade, I don't know, Dade monument for a battleground from Dade. I'm not for sure where it is. I think it's in Tennessee. Just a chrome card. It's been listed for a long time, $4.55. And the last one that sold on eBay is the Penn Trust Company. And this was posted in 1908. Golden Age of Postcards. Divided back, $4.55. And that one's been out there maybe a month or so. But let's get into die-cut postcards. Now, I'm talking about the die-cut postcards. I'm not talking about the Victorian trade cards from the Victorian era, or the trade cards and stuff like that. I do have an example of one just to show you what it is. It was a damaged one that I just put into the video envelope so I can show it. But I'm talking about die-cut postcards. Now, when you say die-cut, what do I mean? So here's the definition for die-cut. Any paper cut by a publisher into a shape other than a rectangle. other than a rectangle. How simple can you get? That's how easy it is to understand die cut postcards. Any paper cut by the publisher into a shape other than a rectangle. So if it's not a rectangle like that, a 5.5 by 3.5 card, it's probably a die cut on there. Die cut was introduced in the 1800s. The die cut name combined two terms: die, which means creation by machination, and then cut, the act of cutting out a shape. So die cut is where they come up with that. Shoemakers in the early days used to cut out leather by hand. When they made the shoes and stuff, they used to have to cut it by hand with shears and stuff, or chisels and pound through the leather. But once die cutting machines were invented, they started using the dies. So they would make a die out of metal or wood or whatever, and then they could put it on there and just hit it with a mallet or press it down, and it'll cut through the same shape every time. So it greatly speeded things up. These die cut postcards are a stylish alternative to traditional postcards to their unique shape. So there are so many different shapes, and you're going to see that here in a second. Now over in England, they also might be known as scraps. So I come up on that term here, and they say that in England they might also be known as scraps. So if you hear the word scraps postcards, it means die cut, I guess. That was just something interesting that kind of caught my eye. Now the hold to the light postcards, one of the videos I did where you hold a light to the back of the postcard and it shines through, they have the little holes where the tissue paper between the two plies is, those are die cut in there. So they'll press that and the printing, they'll cut it, and that's the holes that the light comes through. Most of the time those are die cut. And a lot of postcards, when you buy a bunch of postcards, and if you want to know if there's die cuts, they usually stick out. They'll usually stick out differently. They'll stick out like this, whatever, because they're shaped differently. They won't fit correctly, like nice and neat like this. So that's how you can see die cut postcards in big lots or at an antique mall, flea market, or a big box of them. They'll stick out pretty good. Even the mechanical ones usually stick out. Now the advantages of using a die cutting back in the day and nowadays, they even use them to cut out metal for car doors or pieces and stuff like that. People use die cutting all the time in scrapbooking. They have the dies. There's a big market for all that out there. But some of the advantages of die cutting is the speed. You don't have to cut around. You can do a lot in a short amount of time. Cost. You don't need 20 people there cutting out things. Uniformity. Using a die, everything's the same. You don't have all the misses and stuff like that, so everything's the same. And then you can get the dies just right to fit the right size paper. You have less waste material, which is a big deal when you're dealing with big, huge quantities of stuff. It can really add up over time. But so far that's die cutting. But now let's go through some examples I have here in my collection. Now this is what I was talking about, that little trade card. This is supposed to be a paddle. It's supposed to have I think a fan, but it's missing this little piece right here. It would look like that. But that's just got an advertisement on the back. It's not a postcard. So this is die cut. The reason why it's die cut, per the term, it's not a rectangle. So all these were stamped out with a die, and that's a trade card. Now this is an interesting die cut card, and I put it up here and you say, well, that's not die cut, it's a rectangle. Yes it is, but it's added on. These little pieces here, this was added on. She is actually added on to the card. So she's cut out all the way around her hair. So that was a die cut piece. So a die cut add-on card, and that's your crossover in postcards. You can call this an add-on card, die cut card, different things. But I thought it was a pretty cool card. I didn't see a lot of these before. A lot of them don't make it because they get stuck in that. But if you notice right there how she's cut on there, her hair is all nice and cut. That's a die cut add-on card. Now do they get big money for these? It still depends on subject. Here's one of lots of fun for your 5th birthday of some kid. It's in the shape of numbers. They have all these numbers out there just like candles on cakes. That's a die cut card, and you could probably still mail that today on there. Now this was a a movie one, and I think it's missing a piece. But if you look at this, it looks like a Continental card. But actually, little guys, it's made like a punch out. The die went around and it punched out. And this is supposed to sit down here. This is supposed to come around. And you're supposed to be able to stand that up. For this movie, Catch Me If You Can. That was a pretty good movie. I liked it. And the second one, I think it was the Eye for the magic stuff. But that's a die cut card when you see stuff like that. Little promotional material, but it's actually a postcard with the stamp right up here on there. And it has the instructions in the bottom what it's supposed to look like. Let me see if I can find it there. Oh, right up here on there. So that's a postcard. Now this one, close to home to me, Wisconsin. This is a duck. You'll see this card. You think it's worth a lot. It's an average card. They made so many of these. It's just a duck. It's one of those water and land boats. Ride the Dells, Wisconsin Dells. I've sold those before for $4, $4.55. This is a Turkey Hill Experience. This is a bigger card. It's die cut, since it's all nice and trimmed around. There's your stamp box and your address. That's a die cut card. And now the last one. This is actually a Germany card, and it's a McDonald's card. It's actually from McDonald's. They took a bite out of the card. If you can see that, let me put it behind something white. You can actually see where they did the mouth and they chomped it right here. So it's a bun, and they act like someone chewed on there. So that's die cut right there. They used the die to cut that on there. But that's a McDonald's, Germany McDonald's card. And like I said, they don't sell for a lot of money, but some of them might be a little different. But let's check the pricing. Like I always do, the sold high, sold low, list high, list low. And I did find something popped up here. I wasn't doing it on purpose, but I found another discrepancy in pricing. But let's take a look at the sold high. Just on eBay, you go in, type in die cut postcard, and you sort it by the highest to lowest. And what do we come up with? We come up with a state. That's California, $20 and $4 shipping. And then you got a bus or something here, a Greyhound bus. Greyhounds seem to do pretty well, the older ones. Those are ones that would be a little higher you want to do your research on. $23. They had a 40% off, so they went high and it wasn't selling, so they brought it down. And then you got a Christmas one. I see a lot of Christmas ones and stuff like that, $12. But that's a neat little card there. Well, what about the lows? How low do these go? So I didn't want to go out and just get the 99-cent card. I want to see, throw those out. I want to see what else is. Here's a hockey player. Rangers, Wayne Gretzky, $9.50 from Canada. It's a neat card, and I like how they did the scan. They actually showed the front and back in one picture. That's a little twist on the photo. And then you got the other one here. It's the Yellowstone National Park. It's a vintage postcard, probably from the 50s on there. But you can notice on the side where it's cut around, you know, they took an offer, probably $4, $4.50 plus, you know, $1.95 shipping. They're not at the $20 range, but they're also not all at the 99-cent range. Now let's take a look at what people are listing these cards for. Now a lot of people think postcards are worth a lot of money just because they're 100 years old. But remember, 1905, 1911, golden age of postcards, there was billions of postcards out there during that time on there. But the first one here, $125 they listed this card, mechanical honeycomb. So a lot of your mechanical postcards will be die cut. Is he asking too much for that? I didn't do a lot of research. He might be on the money, but he put best offer in there, so he went kind of high, and someone might make an offer on it and what the market will bear. The next one, I want you to keep in mind here what this is. 1940 San Francisco Municipal Railroad cable car. It's a die cut card, $67.50 and $5.39 shipping. So you're talking over $70 for that postcard. Now just keep that one in mind. And then you get to the next one. It's just a state card, $48 and $4 shipping. I think that one, I would pass on that one because I could probably find that card $4 to $5, maybe even cheaper. The top one, $125. You know, if I wanted to go out and do research and stuff, well, we'd see. But there's nothing for a reseller in that. It'd be for the collector. But then we look at the listed low. Here's just your Budweiser one, a beer company, standard advertising. They probably made a lot of these. $4 card. I think that's in the right era. Your people that are, you know, beer fanatics that like Budweiser. I know Budweiser does sell when I have beer taps and stuff at the flea market, or any signs, especially the older ones. They do well. So there is a good fan base for Budweiser. But here's the one. I just showed you the San Francisco Municipal Railway one up there for $70. Here's the same card for $5 and $1.65 shipping. So if anybody in there knows how to look in eBay and look in the, you know, competitively price to buy something, they're going to buy the $5 one instead of the $70 one. But let me put them both up here. $70 for one, $5 to $6 for another. You know, that's why you have to be very careful when comping postcards, because your range here, I think it's more in the $5 to $10 range for that card. But you got to go look and see how many are out there, how many are listed. I mean, you don't want to be the race to the bottom, and you don't want to be the one at the top, because that $70 postcard might get somebody that doesn't do the research and just wants it and thinks it's great. But that's few and far between. Yeah, I think it's more between $5 and $10. Just what I saw out there. But let me get back to what it was before. And now the last one is a $2.99 card of a baby carriage. And they got $4 shipping on there. So they're still using first class shipping. They could do that with eBay standard envelope for 53 cents and give the customer a good deal. Raise their price probably to $4.55, $5 for that, maybe $6. You know, there's a lot of opportunities there. But that's the pricing of the die cut postcards. They're all over the place. They're not that rare. Most of them, since they can do them with dies, are mass produced. But your mechanical ones, your older ones, some of them can be worth some money. So you want to be like the Greyhounds, buses and stuff. You want to be careful with those. Die cut postcards. Who knew? Now let me get through some of these Etsy cards on there. Now Etsy is up and down just like HIP. You never know what you're going to get out of them. eBay is 80% of my sales, Etsy is 15%, and HIP is 5%. That's the average. It usually rolls around there somewhere. So I focus more on eBay, but I do list on Etsy, but you want to be careful with Etsy. Some months you just don't make and pay the bills. It doesn't break even. A lot of months they do, but it's not the volume that you have on eBay. But it is another site, and there I am making money on there now. But when I first started, it took a while. eBay had to carry it because I just didn't have enough cards. And I don't put 10,000 cards up on Etsy because the fees, if they don't sell it, the fees will just eat you up. So the first card sold on Etsy, this is the Storm King. This was out of box one, out of like 100 boxes. This is a card I listed years ago. And this sold for, you know, $4.55, $4.65 on Etsy. Because I had to bring it up because of their fee basis. The next one is, this is a Union Oil. Now, if you've seen my Chrome videos on Chrome postcards, they're one of the first Chromes made, they say, was Union Oil, and you'll see that with the 76 marker down here. And there's a whole checklist on the internet about these Union Oil premiums cards that they give out. And this is the International House, University of California. So this is a university, unposted Chrome card, $4.55. Then I had a person buy 6 cards on Etsy. This is a volcano showing lava in Hawaii. Lava sells. And one of the reasons, it just pops out in the listings. If you're looking at a page of postcards, this thing's going to pop out on that page. So I always look for big, bright lava flows like that. In Hawaii, they'll sell. This one is the Marriott in Philadelphia. Just a dining room. You know, $4.65. Next one is the Epcot Center in Disney. I probably priced this up to $6.75 or $5.65. Now it did come out of a, you can see the perforation here. It was in a coupon, postcard book or something, but it's still sold. Disney always sells. Another one they bought was another dining room. This is the Larson's Turkey Farm Inn. Just a dining room at the Turkey Farm Inn. Where is that located? Chester, New Jersey. Unposted Chrome Chrome card, and this person put it in their collection in 1988, it said. Tiki Gardens, right here in Florida. Another one that they bought. And this was posted in 1968. Just a Chrome card, $465. So that person bought those. And then this card here on Etsy was Carlton Manor, Atlantic City. I think it's some kind of diner or something like that in Atlantic City. You know, $465 for that card. So those were 6 cards to one person on there. Now I've sold this card before on eBay or Etsy, whatever. I've seen this card made. It's a signpost, and it's in Maine, and it points to different countries. This one's actually going international. I think it's going to Canada over there. And then I had a person buy 3 cards on Etsy, another order, and this will be the last of the what solds. This is St. Patrick's Cathedral, New York, a white border card right there. Nice one on there. It's got a little wear on it, but that's one of the 3. The next one they bought, oldest school in St. Augustine, Florida. I don't post a lot of St. Augustines anymore. That's a white border card. Because I just got so many of them. Pirates Alley, oldest schoolhouse. Now the aquarium down there, Oceanarium, whatever they call it, those seem to do pretty well. I'll post those, but the other ones, it's like the Spanish moss in New Orleans. I don't post, or the iron fence or the corn fence. I don't put those up anymore. I just got too many of them. They do sell, but not that. I just got too many. And this last one that sold on Etsy, this 3-card order, is Riverside Church. It's a linen card in New York City. And they wrote right up here a date, but remember that you don't know what that date is. It might be the date that they put in their collection. It might be the date they went into another collection. So always be careful of those dates that people write on if it's not postmarked or you don't know the history of the card. But that's a linen card, and I can feel the waffle texture on it. That's all the cards that sold overnight. Had a pretty good night. But let's get into the poll. So this poll that I put on the community tab came from a viewer. Someone, I forgot who it was, asked if I could put this out there, and I said sure. So as a postcard seller, did you start out as a postcard collector? So did sellers start out as collectors, or were they just sellers? 63 people responded to this one, so that was a good question. 16% said yes, I started out as a collector. 81%, I did not start out as a postcard collector. So 80% of the people that are selling postcards did not start out as a collector. That was interesting. I thought it would be the other way around. But then collectors don't want to give their stuff up. You know, sellers are out there to make money, and they see a niche and they're going to jump on it. So it does make sense. But 80% of the people did not start out as a collector. And then other, 3%. And I was asked to put it in comments. I don't know what other is, but you always got to put other out there or something like that. So here's the 3 comments. Kelly said, I started with comic books, then stumbled upon Popeye's channel 5-ish years ago. It took another 6 months before I bought my first collection, and then he was hooked. The first one's always free, and they'll have to pay for the rest. But yes, that's how it starts on there. So he was doing something, and he saw something else, and he did the research and figured it out, bought a collection, and he's been doing it ever since. He sells a lot of postcards. See to the lights. He said, needed a way to get rid of duplicate postcards I had, or the ones that didn't fit my collection. So he is a collector, but he wanted to, you know, pay for his hobby, so he started selling his duplicates. A lot of collectors do that. They'll get duplicates of things, and they'll sell off some stuff to get something else. And you want to ride that train when they're doing that. But thanks to the lights. And then Steve Hertzinger, as a dealer now, I get to collect cards out of the postcard collections I buy. I love night linens and advertising. Night linens are cool. I like those too. They always do well, especially the big moon on there or the blue, blackish blue coming down. So I agree with that. But yeah, I've pulled cards out of the lots I bought on there, and I've pulled cards out to keep, to add to my collection, or to do a video on. Sometimes I find cards I've never seen before, I didn't really know about, and I'll do that on there. There's just so many types of cards. But that's the polls. They go out every Saturday, Central Time, about 9 a.m. Take a look at them. There's a lot of good information out there. It kind of gives you a pulse of, we're all normal. Everybody's got the same things, stuff like that. So if there's any questions you want me to put out there that just piques your interest, let me know and I'll add it to the queue. But now I'm going to get into viewer comment section of the videos that I do. But I got this question, and I get it a lot, because it really hits home to a lot of people. If you've been any kind of human, if you're from this planet, you get feedback, it's constructive or negative, it will affect you. I don't care what these other sellers do, YouTubers say, or whatever, it does affect them. It's human nature. If they don't affect them, then they're not normal, you ask me. It does affect people. You put your sweat and time into building a postcard store, and you're shipping out postcards and doing really well, and you're at the top of your game, and you're shipping out every day, you're selling a lot of cards, making a lot of money. Then you get that one person that comes in and just tells you don't know what you're doing. This card sucks, or you didn't describe it right, or I didn't get it. It'll drop you down. It's like going on a roller coaster and drop down. Now you got to get back up, and then when you get back up, you feel fine for a while, then you get another one. That's what feedback can do. And you just gotta, it's business. It's a transaction. It's nothing personal. Treat everything as a transaction. Do not engage. Some people are unreasonable. They just want you to engage. They feel entitled behind that keyboard. Just let it roll off. If you got a refund it, move on. I've had refunds of $20, $30 that I know I could probably fight it, but you know what? I had $2 in the item. Here's your 20 bucks, go. Leave me alone, I got other things to do. It just rolls off of me. But let's talk a little bit more about feedback and my opinion on it. Now, this is my opinion. I see feedback as just a gauge on a dashboard. So let me bring up this big thing here. It's just one indicator for the health of your store. As you notice, on here I have feedback, sales, defects, listings, profit, just all these different things, top rated seller metric, expenses. Those are all indicators on the health of your store. You want to keep these indicators in the green, not the yellow and the red. But they'll never be perfect. It's just like the trouble light that comes on in your car, the engine light. Do you have to react right away when that comes on? No, you got to find out what it is and how bad it is going to stall on you. Feedback is just an indicator. Is one of the indicators to tell you the thing, but to me, it's just another gauge. You don't really have full control of feedback. You got human beings involved, but you do have full control of your expenses. How much your expenses are, your profit, your listings. Why worry about feedback when you don't have full control of it? Now you want to watch it and you want to take care of it, but spend more time on getting good listings and titles. Another thing I see about people is feedback. They won't give feedback until the customer gives feedback, or they'll request feedback. That is bad. That's the old days of eBay. Feedback back then was a part of your metrics. Feedback is just more of a gauge. I do not send feedback, type in feedback. It goes out automatically. I have it set up in eBay store. I have it set up in everywhere else. HIP, I can't do it. I have to do it, but it's so low. They don't have that feature. But if the person pays, they get feedback from me. It just goes and automatically. Another thing is I hear people sending out emails when they ship things to tell a customer, hey, I shipped your item. eBay does that. eBay floods the customer with a whole bunch of stuff when they buy something in their shipment. You don't need to correspond. They're not your friends. They're a transaction. You don't need to get personal with them. If you open that door, then you're inviting them into your house. So you just want to keep a business transaction, keep that space. You don't have to say, no, I'm not, be rude to them, but they bought something for you. Most of the people, when I buy something from Amazon or eBay, I don't want to sit and have a conversation with the guy. I just want my postcard. That's how I feel. So I don't send those emails. eBay does it automatically, and they'll send it out there. Someone doesn't pay, eBay sends a reminder. They do all that for you. Use the tools. How do I use feedback to help my business? So when I first started selling postcards, packing things up, I want to be better than everybody else. I wanted to pack it better. I want to be the one they come back to. So I'm going to put them in a rigid mailer, and I'm going to put it in plastic so it doesn't get wet. I'm going to put it in a sleeve, and then I'm going to cut out labels, and I'm going to put it in a good envelope. And you know what? I got 2 to 3 ounces there by the time I put all the cards in there. 2 to 3 ounces. So I'm spending 93 cents, 73 cents to ship this. And I'm sitting there, well, I don't want to raise my price, but can I cut my expenses? And how can I gauge my shipping? Feedback, I thought. So the first thing I did is I got rid of the rigid mailer. I just tossed that away. And now I started shipping by just putting them in a sleeve. I got rid of the other plastic thing here too. Don't need to buy that. So I just put them in a sleeve and an envelope. Let's see how that does. So I ran that for a couple months. Feedback was the same. Hey, great shipping, well protected. Great shipping, well protected. Never got one that I can remember about bad shipping or whatever. So then instead of labels, card, I used to put a little thank you card in there, a little business card on there. I said, well, I can get rid of that. Let me see. So I went out and I bought a stamp with my name on it, with my cards right. I don't have to buy those 3-cent cards anymore and take the extra time to put it in there. Let me see how that works. They say you can get 15 to 20,000 stamps with this before the ink runs out and you gotta buy another one. So I just stamp everything right now. I don't have to put a card in there, add to the weight. There's no weight to that ink. So guess what? I went from like 2 to 3 ounces down to 1 ounce. Now I'm paying 53 cents. I'm saving 20 cents. So feedback helped me watch that. Now, if I started getting problems about the way I was packing, slipping, shipping and stuff like that, then I would do something differently. But I'm down to 1 ounce for 4 cards by doing this, and I'm saving. There is no reason to put a chrome card they bought for $4 into a rigid mailer. There's no reason I have to put plastic around everything. They go in mailboxes most of the time. I have never had one where it opened up, never had one that got wet. That's how you can use feedback. When you make a change, that's one indicator. Another indicator is you check your sales. And I made a big change, all of a sudden I have no sales. Okay, you need to reverse that. But that's how you can use feedback. But if you do get negative feedback, there is a place on eBay that's real easy to use. I got 3 negative feedbacks in the last month. One guy said I didn't ship it and never made it up. During the holidays, it just never made it. Well, my eBay standard envelopes said, hey, it was delivered. Now, delivered to the last destination and stuff. So I put that into feedback, and I asked, the guy said, do not buy from the seller or scammer or whatever like that. And said I never shipped it and stuff. It was pretty crappy feedback, negative. So I tried to get it removed. And eBay said no, they couldn't remove it on there. But then all of a sudden it went away. So either 2 things happened. Automatically the bot saw that it was delivered and it moved it, or the guy got it and he went in and took it down. I never engaged with that person. I never sent him a message saying, hey, sorry you didn't get your cards. Just his tone that he put it in there, and I knew that I could not engage with him. I couldn't reason with him. They already got in their mind that, they were looking for something. So I just used the system, and I just confirmed that it was mailed out, and here's the tracking. Then the other negative feedback I got on there, the guy says, I know it's not the seller's fault, but it did not arrive, and they gave me a negative because eBay sent an envelope showed it was delivered. I put it in, eBay took that one down. But the easiest way to do that is this right down here. It's where you can get defects and stuff like that removed. It's called ebay.com/sellerhelp/request. And I'll put that link in the video description also. But that's the easiest way if you get bad feedback or you want something appealed or taken down, that's where you do it. Now, sometimes they'll say no, and then what you can do is hit eBay for business, or you can try to have them call you. But this is the easiest thing. Just go into the request. It does take 48 hours, but those 2 negatives, that one last negative, it was gone in 5 minutes when I put that request in. So all my 3 negatives are gone. And I'm not worried about carrying it. I carried a neutral for the last year because I put North Dakota instead of South Dakota or something like that. It was my fault. So I had a neutral. It went on there. It doesn't have to be perfect. You will make mistakes. People will do things. But that's feedback, and hope it helps you. Everybody deals with it. Now, last August, I bought a big naval ship haul, and you guys have seen a lot of the ships over the last year that I've sold, and people have some questions about that. Well, I have a playlist out there, and people ask me how I organize it. But in this video here, I actually go step by step my plan on how I was going to organize these cards, and there was a lot of cards. I still got a little bit to go. A couple more months I should be completed. But check that video out. Might be some things in there to help you spur some ideas on there. But that's all I got for you, and I'll catch you on the next one.